have been working with ICCA Dubai for about a decade now, and it's been a joyous ride in the Faculty of Cookery and Patisserie. So I have my colleague Chef Asba joining me over here today, and let's speak about the product that we are demonstrating today. You might be able to see it right in front of you. So this is from the category of travel cake or gâteau de voyage, and it's called Expérience Gianduja. The name itself suggests the flavors that it entails, and we have plated it also with various elements of Gianduja in the assembly. So coming back to a little of the history of travel cake and how what its origin has been, and its place now in modern pastry. So this is the generic name for these type of cakes is actually like a pound cake or a loaf cake, and it has a funny story which speaks about its invention. So we had a baker, that's what we understood from history, by the name of Giovanni Plum, and he was supposedly baking a sponge cake in his home, and in the city of Pompeii, and the Mount Vesuvius, it erupted, and he ran out of his home, and supposedly he passed by a fruit shop, and the lava exploded, and there were lots of fruits and nuts which landed onto his cake, and that's how the plum cake invented. Now I don't know if the story is true or not, God knows, but we like to think that by accidents we discover new things, and that helps us to create then further on. So basically these travel cakes, they are whipped doughs, and their main characteristic is that they have a significant amount of fat in them, and they have a high sugar content and a low water content, which helps them to conserve better, which helps them to preserve, and that's their main characteristic. Of course, they take candied or dried fruits as an inclusion into them, and they avoid fresh fruits. That's what elongates its shelf life. When we come to speaking about this recipe, we will particularly also talk about certain ingredients which further elongates this life. So in all the 4 days of the Expo Culinaire in the ICCA education booth, ICCA will be concentrating on the theme of sustainability and how our recipes highlight the ingredients that are used inside, which maintain or promote sustainable practices. And we will also speak about certain production efficient methods which help us as an organization to further maintain sustainable practices. So coming back to our travel cake, the prime characteristic of it having a significant amount of fat, and the characteristic that I just mentioned, is what makes this product sustainable in itself. When organizations invest into such products, or they go into the making of such products, they actually are making a sustainable product. You make a batch and you freeze, and you can use it, you can thaw it immediately in the chiller, and then you can use it as various presentations in the buffet, whether in the restaurants or in your hotel buffet. So either as a whole cake or as a plated presentation, or even as a high tea presentation in various buffets. So that's about the product and how it is promoting sustainability. So batters are a very interesting part of pastry, and they're gaining more and more strength in the business, and because of its long-lasting nature. So let's get started with the production of this batter. We have over here some butter, some sugar, and some invert sugar. The invert sugar, the addition of invert sugar into this batter is what prolongs the shelf life further. And that's why we have added it into the recipe. So we have just creamed that together to just avoid some delay, and to avoid the noise as well. So we'll just give it one more whisk. and then we'll add into this some melted chocolate. Once that chocolate is well incorporated, we'll just add in the eggs little by little until the structure of the batter develops, and then we add in the dry ingredients, which is nothing but cocoa powder, hazelnut flour, and some raising agent, which is baking powder. So we can even alternate it with almond powder, but because this is about hazelnut, that's why the hazelnut flour is added. So let's start about whipping up this batter. These cakes are easy to even transport. They also, they originated, the English were the ones who originated this cake. And when they were conquering the world, they needed something to travel with. And this was the easiest option. And that's how they came into origin. And now, today, any cake, you can continue, Asba. I think I'm loud enough. So the French, then they went on to creating these elongated shapes, and now today with any cakes in such elongated molds come into this category of gâteau de voyage. And as you can see from the presentations, various innovative molds have been brought out where you can fill up the ganache, etc., and insert it into the cake as well. Yeah. All right. Speaking about sustainability, sustainability is on everyone's mind nowadays. So, what is sustainability? Sustainability is a kitchen from today to infinity. It is a kitchen from the present to the future, and it is a practice where sustainable cooking has to take care of the environment and protect the planet as well. So, we have to take care of all these factors. Our focus today is on the zero waste methodology, how we have used various ingredients which we produce in our organization, and they are used in various factors in various recipes, making the components like a multi-purpose situation and hence avoiding zero, making it a zero waste policy. So, as you can see over here, what if it's clear from that plate, we have used various components over here. You might be able to see this crumble over here, which is also included on top of the cakes. Right, so. This can be any cookie which is left over in the establishment, and it can be used up over here, thus focusing on the zero waste methodology. And we have over here a chocolate coffee caviar right here. So in our organization, particularly when we have barista training, we have lots of espresso which is pulled out as practice, which goes to a waste. So we'd rather enter into such experiments, and we get products, we derive products like these and use it as our plating and presentation. Going to say that we produce efficiently, or we use our components as a multi-purpose situation over here. All right. Another thing that I would like to say is about not only about the cake itself, that for example, as you can see, different presentations that are available. It can be served as a whole cake or as a plate, or it can be used as a base of any cake. It can be sliced thinly, it can be dehydrated and used as various fine dining presentations as well. We have also had introduced some avant-garde or new techniques over here, like the microwave sponge as well. This is also a praline microwave sponge. Unlike microwave sponge, which are very dry, this one has praline paste in it, thus making it very moist and very palatable to the palate. Like it's a melt-in-mouth microwave sponge. So these cakes, as I said, they can be sliced very thinly with your meat slicer. It can be dehydrated and they can be used. Again, pointing out to the zero waste methodology. What we're trying to achieve out here is also to reduce our inventory and reduce our labor cost and reduce the number of components that we make, but use it as a multi-purpose function. All right. Then we already spoke about the crumble. In ICCF particularly, we get lots of scraps of cakes, cookies, etc. So the reusing of those scraps is what also helps us to minimize wastage, make it zero wastage, increase our revenue. And how do we use our scraps, let's say from these kind of cake batters or brownie batters where we either throw it away or we eat it up. But rather than doing that, we also have some suppliers where we can sell these scraps to, and they can include it in their ice creams as brownie ice creams. Or we have also the policy that certain times we use only one-day products. Let's say if it's a cookie, it's just a one-day product. The next day it is not used. So we can again freeze it. We can either then dehydrate it again, and we can infuse it in milk, and we can use it as a latte. So all these procedures can be followed, and we can concentrate on zero wastage policy. So Azba, are we done with the batter? Okay, I think she just has the dry ingredients to go in. Now this cake particularly also has the inclusion, as you saw, we had creamed the butter and sugar, but this also has the inclusion of oil, which makes the cake even moist, even more moist. So we can include all of that in, Azba. So whilst we are going like that, speaking about things like crumble and things like that, and multi-purpose achievements with that, we can even use it in our chocolate. We can use it in our tempered chocolate and make bars out of that. These are just out of the way ideas which we use to make zero wastage. Other than that, sustainability is also culture. Different cultures have different requirements. For example, Chinese would have a different palate than a Dutchman, and we have to make sure that we also maintain our cultural heritage. We also be sustainable in that regard as well. Other than that, sustainability also is about health, for example, where we take care of including those items in our diet which gives nutrition to the body as well, apart from, of course, being environmentally friendly and so on. Oil gone in as well. We can add in the oil, which gives the cake extra moisture. We will just take it into a piping bag, and this is the mold that is used in this presentation. Not sure if it's visible. We'll take a little amount of batter. So about in this pan, we've just used about 200 to 250 grams of the batter. And this will achieve about this batter will achieve about 6 loaves like these. Readily you can freeze them, and when you need it, you just remove and use in your buffets. That's it, Azma. Thank you. Can I have your spatula? Okay, so I will just show a bit of the assembly of the batter. The mold is, of course, greased and floured. So we pour a little of the batter, and we are inserting the Gianduja block inside, which further moistens the cake. And then we just cover. It's a fairly simple cake, yet very, very flavorful and rich. So as I was talking about our cookie crumble, you can go for any raw crumble as well, but if we have these on hand, we can just top it up with the crumble and we are good to go. We can clear that up. So this is basically bakes off at about 170 and takes about 20 to 25 minutes for this much of portion to bake off in the oven. So now coming to various elements that we talked about, we just sum it up by saying that our focus was to highlight how we can be production efficient and minimize our costs by choosing our products and what we make in our restaurants for our buffets. And we have to be careful about sustainability, as when we throw food away, and we have to be careful about zero wastage, as it takes a lot of natural resources not only to produce the food but the same amount even when we waste the food. So we have to be careful regarding that. The scraps also reduce our revenue, so rather use the scraps and increase our revenue as the organization, and so that will benefit us in the long run. It was very nice to have you all here. Any questions from any one of you? Yes, sir. Yeah, so one is castor sugar and one is invert sugar. And in case if you don't find invert sugar in the market, you could go with natural invert sugar like honey, for example. Yeah, the same quantity. Yeah, that would alter the flavor a little, but not too much of an impact because you have powerful flavors going on in here. Yeah. So the portion of fat is about 60, because the batter itself has butter as well as oil, and it has the Gianduja block, the chocolate, as well as the butter, plus it has the kuvachured chocolate. And the recipe will be available at our blog shortly, so you all can refer to the recipe as well. And just to close, I would like to also point out about various things that we were talking about, and you spoke to me about gluten-free requirements. So if our organization rather has such requirements, dietary requirements, then we can go in for a sponge that caters to both needs, and further reducing our inventory or our components and catering to multi-purpose requirements. Right, so nice to have all of you here, and so nice for Team ICCA as well, who are standing here for my support. Thank you so much. Thank you.